Funding for HomeTowne Pets is provided by the Animal Clinic of Morris Plains, 3009 Route 10 in Morris Plains. Veterinary care for companion animals, exotics, avian, and pocket pets, and Choice Pet 1260 Springfield Avenue in New Providence or at choicepet.com, your source for all your pet care needs.
Hi, I'm Amanda Eustace and welcome to HomeTowne Pets. Once again, I'm here at St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center in Madison, New Jersey, and joined with me is Goodwill Ambassador Nora Parker. As always, Nora will be our guide to all the wonderful animals here at St. Hubert's, and she's also got some tips and tricks to make your adoption experience a great one. So hello, Nora. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Amanda.
So can you give us the basis of how the adoption process works and the experience that somebody's going to get out of it?
Sure. At St. Hubert's, adoption is a very open, friendly, easy process. We have 4 sites for adoption. Here in Madison is our main campus. We have our North Branch Adoption Center in Somerset County, and in Northern Morris County in Ledgewood, the Noah's Ark campus, and we also operate the Everyday Adoption Center inside PetSmart Mount Olive. So potential adopters can come in 7 days a week to any of those sites. They can view the animals first online by visiting our website at sthuberts.org, or they can just stop in at the shelter, fill out a brief survey, and our adoption counselors will be happy to meet with the family, the entire family. If they're adopting a dog and they have a resident dog, he or she should come along too, and they'll be happy to pick a pet that will suit best the family looking to add one.
Well, that sounds so easy. Now, who are these guys that we have in the cage?
Well, these are the real stars, I guess, for today. These are 3 little kittens who are currently in foster care. This is Erica.
Hi.
And the other 2 are Billy and Willow. And we get lots of kittens that are just a little bit too small to be adopted. And so even if you can't adopt, a great way to help the shelter is to provide foster care for kittens. Because for the kittens to be adopted, they have to be 2 months old and weigh 2 pounds. So they could be spayed or neutered, and then they're ready to go to new homes. So when we get the little neonatal kittens that don't have a mama, they need someone to take care of them and socialize them until they get to this point. These 3 will be available probably in a week or 2. They're just about at a little bit under 2 pounds.
Sure, and now how much does it cost to foster an animal?
Well, the beauty of fostering is that when you agree to foster, we give you the training that you need for it.
Okay.
It really shouldn't cost you anything. You'll get a nice big bag like that includes in it the formula, if they're still being bottle fed, the bottles that you would need, food, baby wipes, blankets, the crate, anything that you would need to take care of them, we're happy to supply you with.
Oh, that's great. And now, what's the criteria? For the parents, I would say, the people that are going to be taking care of this animal?
Well, we do training for foster care volunteers, and the most difficult to do, but one of the most rewarding, is the bottle feeding. Like babies, kittens that are still nursing and don't have teeth and can't eat solid food yet need to be bottle fed several times throughout the day. So we give people some training in that. They also, the little teenies, need to be burped after they eat. And you also have to help them go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And that's also very easy, and we can teach people. So we usually start foster people with a little bit easier kittens. These are what I like to call the play and grow kittens.
Yeah, I can tell.
They can already eat solid food, but you can hear them purring. You can see how sweet they are. And that's because instead of just sitting in a cubby where they're being offered food, when they're at home with a family, they're being handled and getting experience, and that is what makes them so friendly and cuddly. And another week or so, they'll be living in someone's house having a great time.
So would you say, I guess, time commitment and spending, you got to take care of them, you have to help them go to the bathroom, feed them, love them, play with them, a lot
Couple of weeks usually for kittens, depending on the age they are when you get them. When these kittens came from Puerto Rico, we're helping the shelters there following the hurricane, and they've been here about 2 weeks, and they're about another week away from going away. And all you really need to foster a cat or a kitten at your house is your spare bedroom or your extra bathroom. They can be housed in there very easily, away from any other pets. And if you can't make as big a daily time commitment, like to bottle feeding every 4 or 5 hours, then you take these little bit bigger kittens who just need the socialization and to be fed 3 times a day, but they're already using a litter box and eating on their own, and they really need your company and handling. So we have a situation that will fit anyone. It's incredibly rewarding. And it helps sometimes these guys get adopted, because probably if you were my next door neighbor, I could interest you in becoming a cat mom by letting you play with them, and we encourage that so that they become social and they find out what life at home is like before they go out for adoption.
And if somebody did want to foster, what's the easiest, simplest way to do that?
The easiest thing for them to do is to go online to sthuberts.org, and if they go over on the right-hand side and click Ways to Help, the link for foster care is right there. It tells them a little bit more about the program. They can put in their application, and then they would be advised when they could come in for foster training, and they get them started right away.
Great. Now, I know you guys have a trade, help me out with this, TNR. So
TNR.
Trade, Neuter, Release.
Trap. Neuter, and release. And the reason for that is lots of people say, ask us, well, you need so many. We have, by the middle of summer, we'll have had hundreds of kittens go through foster care before they're adopted. And people always ask, well, why do you need so many foster parents, and where are all these kittens coming from?
Yeah, that was my next question.
And 90% of pet cats in families are spayed or neutered. So they're not coming from the homes, they're coming from what we call community cats that live outdoors on their own and rely on the kindness of good Samaritans in the neighborhood to feed them and watch over them. And they're what a lot of people call feral cats. But when we think of feral cats, we think that a lot of people think that means they're mean and hissy. They're really not. They're cats that have lived outdoors, maybe born of outdoor cats. And so good people offer them food, but they really need to take the next step, which is to stop the breeding. So what we do is, if we can trap, neuter, vaccinate, microchip, and return those adults to the spots where people are willing to care for them, we can stop the birth of all these homeless kittens that we need to find homes for, and we can prevent a problem in the neighborhood. And those cats can live outside for the remainder of their lives, but the kittens are removed. Welcome to St. Hubert's, go into foster care for socialization.
Okay, so my thing, I guess I would say, would be, in my neighborhood, there's a lot of cats that live on the street, and a lot of people feed them, but sometimes they feel like if they were to, I guess I would say, intervene and try to call somebody, they think that they have to pay for them then, that they have to get their vaccinations and pay for the food there. Is there any cost for that aspect?
That's what we're there to help with.
Okay.
We, at St. Hubert's, they can buy a voucher from St. Hubert's that's good at 8 different locations for $50, and that will cover the spay and neuter surgery, the vaccines, the microchip, and the ear tip. The left ear of those cats is tipped during surgery so that from far away people can see that that cat is already spayed or neutered and has a caretaker. Right now, for a limited time, we're having a $25 special for the vouchers, and if people have more than one cat, we will work with them if the pricing needs to be worked with to help them get all those cats spayed or neutered. And then it's pretty simple. We use, this obviously is too small for a cat, but it's springtime and all the traps are out now doing cats. These are humane traps that are set up with food in them, so when the cat goes in, the door closes, the cat is trapped, you put a blanket over top of it to keep the cat calm, and then they go into the clinic for spay-neuter surgery, and then they're returned. If there are kittens, then we take the kittens in, put them in foster care, and socialize them. But that way it allows those community cats and the people who love them to continue to live as they were, but it stops the pet overpopulation, that it can be such a problem, and that's the unneutered cats might be fighting, the population is growing, it becomes overwhelming for people. Sure. So if we stem that tide, then everyone can coexist happily.
Well, thank you, Nora, for all of your insight. And these little guys are just so cute. He wants to get on my hands. Now, remember, if you want to adopt any of the animals here at St. Hubert's, just call 973-377-2295 or visit St. Hubert's online at sthuberts.org. Now that the spring season is upon us, we'll be right back to discuss another awesome program that St. Hubert's has that helps stray and injured wildlife. So stay tuned. We're back here at St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center in Madison, New Jersey, and with me is Nora Parker. Now, Nora, I understand that the springtime brings some interesting animals into the shelter. What can we do to help keep these guys that do live in the wildlife, keep them in the wildlife?
Well, at spring is finally here, so that's a good thing. And we do have a lot of wildlife that are native to our area, and we see them all the time, and springtime is their breeding season. So people are naturally overjoyed to see all the baby wildlife around, and sometimes they think that they need to help them. And I think that Mother Nature pretty much knows how to take care of itself and often doesn't need our intervention. So our mantra here at St. Hubert's when it comes to baby wildlife is call before you kidnap, because they often don't need any help.
Okay, so now I know you guys face a lot of interesting challenges when people do call you guys and say, hey, for instance, let's discuss a baby bird. If somebody calls you and says, I have this baby bird in my backyard, I don't know if it fell out of the nest, I don't know if it was just on the floor, what would somebody do in an instance like that? Do they intervene? Do they not? What would they do?
Well, usually we would ask you a lot of questions. Say if you were the caller, does the baby bird have feathers on it? Does it look bald? Does it have feathers? Is it hopping around on its own and it's feathered? Even though it's small and has feathers, it's hopping around. It's probably out for flight training with its mom. And if you watch closely from a distance, you'll see the parents nearby. The birds that don't have any feathers are the ones that might need help. And if the nest is nearby, you can get them back in there. If it's fallen from a tree, put it in a safe place and put them back in. If there's nothing around, then we would help get an animal like that to our friends at the Raptor Trust out in Millington that know how to take care of the birds when they do need our help.
Okay, so I know you guys also take care of other animals, or do you have other things to help them out? So for instance, rabbits. How would I know if an animal like that is in need or in need of some help, or I could just leave it alone and let it do what it's going to do?
I think that baby bunnies is one of the most frequent calls that we get. Okay. Their nests are in the ground. You don't even always see them. So they sometimes are disrupted when we're doing yard work, or our dogs or our cats disrupt them. Baby bunnies that are out in the yard, even though they're teeny tiny and could fit in the palm of your hand, if they have fur and their little ears are up, it's okay for them to be out there. They look so little and helpless, but they don't, once they're out and they can hop along, tiny though they are, they don't need help. Sometimes people inadvertently uncover the nest and they see the little babies either without fur or with fur, but their eyes still closed in the nest, the best thing that you can do if it's been disturbed is cover it all back up again. Okay. Their mom will come back. And the most frequent call we get after that is people thinking the mom didn't come back. So the mom bunny is very often out during the day and returns at dusk. So a simple way that you could ease your mind and know that everything's okay and help isn't needed would be if we took this bowl and pretend this is our bunny nest with the little babies all sleeping in there. And then we take some string and cut it in pieces. I'll give you a few and I'll cut myself one. And then we can put this across the bunny nest like that, and then going the other way like a grandma's pie. All you have to do is lay that string over. It won't bother the bunnies, but if you come back the next morning and you see that that's been disturbed, you'll know that the mom has returned and covered up everything again and that they're fine, they don't need any help. If it's exactly as you left it, then you may need to call so that we could get those babies to a wildlife rehabilitator if their mom has not returned. So that's a simple thing you can do to put your mind at ease and not interfere too much with wildlife.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Now, the other I want to say, area of animals that you guys also get a lot of calls from are fawns. These are baby deer, right? Mm-hmm. Now, in this area especially, there's a lot of open area, there's a lot of trees, a lot of area for them to roam. So if somebody, let's just say we're driving and they saw one on the side of the road or maybe looked injured, is that something you guys take care of?
If they're injured, certainly any of these animals, if they appear to be visibly injured, you would call St. Hubert's or your local animal control and rescue. In the case of fawns, as you know, when they're little, they have those white spots all over them, and that's camouflages them in the wildlife with the sunlight shining through the woods. Their mom will leave them alone while she's feeding quietly. So if you come upon one alone, if it's quiet and you don't see flies around it or anything that would indicate that it's sick and it's not making any noise, then that's a little fawn whose mom is nearby. Okay. If the fawn is crying constantly and you go out and you can see that it's looking weak, and especially if you see flies coming near it, then that one may need help. But simply curled up on the lawn in the sunshine, waiting quietly, mom is nearby somewhere and she'll be back.
And when you guys do get these calls for any of these animals that we've talked about so far, when you guys take them, do you take them here? Do you take them somewhere else? I mean, what do they end up doing? Let's just say if one of them has a broken leg, for instance.
We work with a number of wildlife rehabilitators in the area, and we get them right out to them. People who have the animal themselves and want to get it to a rehabilitator can go to St. Hubert's website, and they will be able to find the information on rehabilitators located in their area. We often use Antler Ridge Wildlife Center and the Raptor Trust for the birds. We travel them there, and Woodlands Wildlife Rehabilitators are the ones in our area that take care of the animals. And then we also encourage people, if they go to our website or to the Humane Society of the United States, for free, they can download this great little wildlife guide that covers all the kinds of animals that you and I see in our backyard. Yeah. And it tells us what their habits are, what we can do to live in harmony with them, and how we will know whether they're in trouble or should just be left alone. So this is handy for any household to have.
Now, one other thing that I have that actually I have a concern of myself, I have a groundhog living in my backyard. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if you guys would do this, but he's digging up grass. He has a home in my backyard. I don't want to move him per se, but I don't want him digging up my grass anymore. What do you guys, would you take care of something like an instance like that? Is there something that I can do? I don't want to disrupt his home, but I also don't want to leave him stranded somewhere else where he's not going to know what to do.
Right, we shouldn't move the wildlife from the areas that they come from. Because especially should there be, and there probably isn't any illness or anything, you're moving it to another area. But the main thing is that it's sort of like a vacant apartment. If you move that groundhog out, then another guy takes up that spot. So there are ways that you can deter these animals, usually with fencing, and sometimes it has to go under the dirt, close up that home for them, so they have to move on. There are some plantings that you can put in front of the things that they find most tasty to deter them. And you can get lots of information in the wildlife guide and on our website about what you can do to deter them so that they find a place to live where they're not interfering with your gardening.
Okay, and the last animal that I have, squirrels. They're all over the place. They're out now. They're breeding, like you said. How would I know if one of them's injured? Because there's a ton of them. In
most cases, the mom squirrel doesn't bring the babies out of the nest until it's time. The most often call we get is like after the recent storms, when a nest has fallen out of a tree. And the best thing that people can do when that happened, recently we had some storms where the trees fell down, is that usually their mom is nearby and will take care of them. So if the remnants of the nest are there, we could leave them in it. Or if they're not, we would put them in a little box very low so their mom can easily get in and out. And the key thing for us to know is that it takes mom squirrel several hours to rebuild a safe place for them. And she will do that and then come back and pick them up and put them in the new housing. So you want to put them in a safe place and then stay out of the area for a while, but know that it will take several hours for her to regroup and get a new habitat ready for them.
Thank you, Nora, for all of your wonderful insight and your knowledge. Now we know what to do and what not to do, and we'll be better prepared to deal with any animal we see while we're out exploring Mother Nature. Now stay tuned. We'll be right back to see some other animals here at St. Hubert's that are up for adoption.
Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Sedlacek of the Animal Clinic of Morris Plains. I'm standing in our Canine Rehabilitation Center to talk to you about the importance of exercise in your pet. Exercise is an important part of the physical and emotional well-being of your pet, just as it is in people. Exercise can take many forms. Our Canine Rehabilitation Center focuses on customized therapeutic exercise programs for post-op patients, older dogs, and even dogs needing to lose a few pounds. But establishing a regular exercise routine with your pet can be done at home. One of the most important things you can do in terms of exercise for your pet is to establish a regular routine. Something as simple as going for a walk every day provides significant benefits for both you and your pet. Want to increase the intensity of the workout? Just increase the pace and increase the distance. Right, Maddie? Making it fun is also important. Chasing a ball, swimming, or just finding a new route for your walk can make things more interesting for your pet. Getting cats to exercise can be a challenge. Right, Emily? Many clients find that using a laser pointer and having the cats chase the spot can be an effective way to get them to exercise. Also, adding another cat will often increase activity as they interact with each other. So remember, exercise is an important part of your pet's physical and mental well-being. Be sure to make it fun, don't overdo it, but make regular exercise a part of your pet's daily experience.
Welcome back to HomeTowne Pets. I'm Amanda Eustace, and with me is Nora Parker. We're here at St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center in Madison, New Jersey. Now, Nora, I understand you have a couple more animals to show us that are up for adoption.
We do. This is Socks. Hi, Socks. And she's about 3 years old. She's one of the bully breeds. She's a pit mix. And as you can see, she's not really nervous about being on camera. She's about 3 years old. And we took her in from one of the other shelters in our area, who doesn't have quite as much space as we do. And she's such a happy-go-lucky, outgoing girl that we know she will find a good home fairly soon. She doesn't miss a trick, as you can see. She takes treats very politely and gently from you, and her tail goes 100 miles an hour. She loves affection, and she's got a lot of playful energy and stamina, so if you're somebody that likes to hike or run, she'd be a great partner.
Now, you said that she is half pit bull or a pit bull mix?
She favors mostly the look of the pit bull. She kind of, you're too young, but she kind of looks a bit like Petey from the Little Rascals.
Yes.
And she's got that outgoing, friendly personality.
Now, I know pit bulls, they get this notion that they're fighting animals and they're not that nice and they have this anger and mean look to them.
Oh, they're
but
great
really,
dogs.
I don't see anything wrong.
They're great dogs, and we have sometimes a little impolite at the table. but they're very, very affectionate. People are, and look at her, she's offering, sit down. Who could ask for a better companion ready to move in?
So I know that we have another animal that they're going to show us too. I believe it's a dog. Do you know anything about the next dog?
I do. Next up is Jimmy.
Okay, where's Jimmy?
Here comes
Hi,
Jimmy. That's Jimmy. And Jimmy came to us. We talked about the kittens earlier, and Jimmy came to us on one of the airlifts from Puerto Rico. And he came from a shelter there, and he's about 3 years old as well. And the shelters there were very hard hit, and we've offered to help them out by taking in nice adoptable dogs like Jimmy, who also just wanted to say hello. And now that Amanda's giving him the petting and affection, I think he was looking for the crumbs at first, but he's another beautiful dog, clearly people-oriented. He sat right down by you. And the beauty of a grown dog like this is that they've already lived somewhere, so you don't go through all that puppyhood and having to teach them everything. They just need a little bit of time to get adjusted, but they already know what it's like to live in a household and go in and out, and they just get adjusted to your rules and your household, and it's a much easier transition.
Yes, so I remember last time when we had the show, we talked about having cats and dogs in the same house. Would an older dog work well with a younger cat or vice versa?
It really depends on the animals, and our adoption counselors are happy to give people some great advice on doing the introductions properly. But as you can see, we have another guest waiting here on stage with us who's been here with both of these dogs, and they've been just fine.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. Now, who's this guy over here meowing?
Well,
or
over
gal,
here,
I should say.
We have our friend Betsy, who we've been hearing for a while during the show, who's been waiting for her moment. Come on, girlfriend.
Now, Betsy is a cat, right?
Betsy is a cat.
Okay, and do you know what kind? Or?
Betsy is a regular short-hair cat, somewhat long hair. She is an older cat. She's about 12. Okay. She's so friendly. She's so affectionate. And she usually has clothes on because her hair was badly matted and had to be shaved down. So until she grows a little bit more of a coat, of her own coat, we give her some supplemental clothes to keep her happy. But she's a very happy kitty, very affectionate. And she's 12, but she would make a great addition to any family. And she did very well throughout the show, waiting for her turn.
She did. Now, does the hair grow back quite quickly, or?
It takes a while, but it will grow back. And then with regular brushing, she won't get into that situation of having it get tangly and matted again.
Thank you, Nora. I hope you find it in your heart to adopt any of the wonderful pets we've seen today, or any of the other animals here at St. Hubert's. Again, if you would like to call and adopt an animal or come visit, just call 973-377-2295 or visit them online at sthuberts.org. Thanks for watching HomeTowne Pets.
Funding for HomeTowne Pets is provided by Choice Pet, 1260 Springfield Avenue in New Providence, or at choicepet.com, your source for all your pet care needs, and the Animal Clinic of Morris Plains, 3009 Route 10 in Morris Plains. High-quality veterinary care for companion animals, exotics, avian, and pocket pets.